Hello, this is Mark LaRochelle from Productive Computing and Productive Computing University. Thanks for joining us on this video. We wanted to share an excerpt from a course we have called Claris FileMaker Pro Intermediate. It's the second part of a series of courses released to train you on Claris FileMaker Pro. This particular course features something called the Data Viewer. And the Data Viewer and Script Debugger, they sort of go hand in hand, are essential tools for the Claris developer to learn how to use. You'll be using this to debug your scripts, to temporarily figure out complex calculations, or just general knowledge of the product. The Data Viewer gives you a quick and easy way to identify and create calculations, and you can learn from them, you can debug them, you can explore them without having to create a whole bunch of schema in the actual file itself. So here's our lesson from the course, showing you the Data Viewer and giving you some practical examples. In this lesson, we learn about the Data Viewer. The Data Viewer is necessary for a couple of reasons. The first reason is to allow you a place, a playground, if you will, to construct calculations outside the actual schema of the file itself so that you can experiment. It's a lot easier to build with the Data Viewer than in an actual calculation field, for example, or even in the middle of a script. It's just easier to do complex calculations in the Data Viewer. The second reason is you'll need the Data Viewer in order to view the state of your data as a script is being run, or as you are looking at a certain found set of records, or you're on a certain layout, or you're testing conditions in the current state, in the context of the current state. So to get the Data Viewer, you'll find it under Tools. Now, if you don't see the Tools menu appear, it's likely because it's not turned on in your preferences. So here you want to go to your preferences. In my case, on a Mac, it's under Claris Pro Settings. It might be under FileMaker Pro Settings. On Windows, you might find it under File Preferences. So in any case, you want to go to the Preferences area, and you want to locate here under Application where it says Use Advanced Tools. You have to select that in order to see the Data Viewer or the Script Debugger or anything under the Tools menu. So I've selected mine. Now you might need to select it, push OK, and then restart the application. So if you need to do that, come back and continue here when you're done. So now that I have the Tools menu, I can open up the Data Viewer. Now the Data Viewer will show me anything that is currently running in a script. That's what you'd use this current button for. Or in our case, what we're going to be focusing on here in this lesson is anything under the Watch window. Now, I've got a couple of things that I had from a previous session, so I'm going to highlight both of those and delete those now. Here we can create an expression. An expression is another way of saying a calculation. So I'll click the plus button here, and we'll create an expression. And very much like the previous lesson where we learned, over here we have the listing of the fields, over here we have the actual formula, and then over here on the right we have a listing of all the functions along with the operators. We have a couple of things that are different on this. Number one, we have the option to see the result immediately without having to go in and outside our calculation engine. I can see the result right here below. So this becomes a great test bed or a great playground to learn from or to experiment with, or just to troubleshoot and debug things, especially when things get complicated. So the Data Viewer is something you will absolutely be using the moment you have those calculations that are a little bit beyond just 1 plus 1. Also want to bring to your attention that when you have a function that you want to learn about, you can click on it here, and then at the bottom right, you have this question mark, which allows you to go directly to the online help available from Claris, and you can read all about that function in great detail, along with any notes and exceptions, some examples, even the version of when this function was originated, in this case version 6.0 of FileMaker. So this is very handy, and to this day, I still, and many other developers with my experience level, continue to reference this amazing area where you just need to read about the functions from time to time, just to be sure you're using them correctly or to just build more information. In addition to this, if you are looking to study for the FileMaker certification exam, this is an area that you will be challenged with several questions in and around functions and formulas. Okay, so that's how you get to that. So again, to review, you can click on any function, click on the question mark, and that'll bring you to the correlating page on the Claris website for the docs on that. All right, there's one other feature here that says automatically evaluate. This is handy when you want something to evaluate immediately as you're typing it versus wanting to wait for the evaluation to come later. In most cases, you'll want things to automatically evaluate. Only in some cases where you're troubleshooting a complex calc, you don't want it to automatically evaluate because it won't expose which part of the calculation is broken if it's broken. So let's work with a few calcs here and look at some of the basics. Just for fun, I'll do 1 plus 1, and you immediately see that it equals 2. Now I have options here. I don't necessarily need to put space between the numbers. It doesn't care whether you have spaces or not. The spaces are for you, the developer, not it, the application. Now it's putting in dots here because I probably have some typing program getting in the way of my typing here, so it wants to put a 1 period. It's trying to auto format. So look, I have that many spaces and the result is still 2. So the good news is you can use spaces to your heart's content and it won't negatively affect the calculation unless, of course, you're working with something in quotes where you're literally typing spaces. That will make an impact. But from a design standpoint, I can put as many returns and spaces as I want to give you the breathing room that you need to format this the way you see fit. Now, of course, besides plus, so let me tighten this up again like you normally would have. I can use minus 1 minus 1. I can use divide, which is the /. The asterisk is multiply, 1 times 1. Let me do 1 times 2, so we see 2 there. As I already mentioned in the previous lesson, we can type things that are literal. This is text, and as long as I put quotes around that, it'll present that as the result. So far in all the calcs that we've just done, we've had it automatically evaluate, and it seems extremely convenient to have an immediate result without having to click any other buttons or tab out or do anything. I just type and it immediately shows me the result. When would you not want this to automatically evaluate? Let's say I create a formula that would be not appropriate. 1 times 2. The engine cannot give you a result on that. I have a blank result. And the reason for that is because this is not an expression that will work. I'd have to remove one of the asterisks, making it just 1 times 2. So I'm not getting any feedback as to why it's broken. Now, in this simple example, I can see that it's just because I have 2 asterisks, but take, for example, a very long and complicated calc. You might not know where in the calc the problem exists. So in that case, you want to remove the automatic evaluation, build your calculation, and then evaluate it at the end. Watch what happens when I evaluate manually like this. I now get some feedback from the engine. In this case, it says a number, text constant, field name, or left paren is expected here. So it's giving you some feedback and cluing you into what might be the problem. And it also highlights where the problem is. So it's saying at this character, we have an issue here. This is where the evaluation engine to evaluate this expression has failed. That can really clue you in on how to fix your calcs. And that's one real good reason to not have it automatically evaluate. The other good reason is sometimes your formulas are looking across multiple records with various relationships with lots and lots of data. If you have it automatically evaluate as you're building the calc, sometimes you're waiting for the application to respond before you get a result because it's churning through so much data. So sometimes it's better to just build your calc and then evaluate it at the end so you don't have to constantly be waiting while the formula is calculating in the background. Those are two good reasons why automatically evaluate would not want to be selected. But 9 times out of 10, I keep this on and I don't worry about removing it until I'm either troubleshooting an expression or I have a lot of data that I'm working with. So we will come in and out of this data viewer throughout our development journey here in this particular section of the course as we build our invoice system, in case we need to calculate something a little bit more advanced or we want to test something before actually implementing it in the file itself. Let me leave you with a couple other interesting things. We talked about just basic functions and basic operators. Let's take a look at some get functions. So let me categorize the get functions here. And let's do get found count. So with this formula, get left paren, found count, right paren, it's returning a result of 1. There's 1 record in the found count. Now let me click the monitor button. And what you'll see here is in the data viewer, it persistently appears and will calculate here for me in the background. So as I add records, thereby changing my found count, so does the value change here in the data viewer. And this is extremely handy, especially when you're troubleshooting advanced scripts. If you want to keep track of what's going on, you can put your formula or your expression here in the data viewer and have it to the side where you can keep an eye on it. Let me take this example a step further. Now let's do a find for all those with a blank name. So I'll just do an equals in the found in the first name and hit enter. And it shows me that I have 34 records showing. Let's take a look at a couple other get functions. I can use this option down here to duplicate an existing function if I have something close to it. Let me do that now. And then I can double click to edit it, or I can click this pencil icon to edit it as well. So also we have options for auto type. So if I type get, it automatically puts in the get and then brings me to all my get functions here on this handy list. So if I type sy for system, I can say system platform is 1. That'll indicate that I'm on a Macintosh. Or I can do system language. It'll show English. Let's see what else I can do with these get functions. And I can say, what is the privilege set name? The privilege set name in this case is full access. That way you know what security someone might be logged in as. I can type RE for record and select the record ID. So the record I'm looking at here is ID 2. I can click the monitor button, and as I flip through these records, so will my record ID change. Just like that. Let me go back in there now. This type ahead can be really handy because it also works against the field names. So using that example from the previous lesson where I combine the first name and the last name, I can just start typing here F-I-R-S, and there is my field for first name. I can use the arrow key on the keyboard to select first name and then select enter on the keyboard to accept that. It automatically puts in the field as well as the table referencing the table occurrence test. So test : first name. Then I can put a space and then an ampersand and then quote, space, quote, and then an ampersand again. And this time I'll type L for last. Sure enough, 2 things appear. The function for last indicated by this FX type icon versus the field last name right here. And if you look very closely on that, you see the lorem. Basically, it's telling you that it's text. So last name, and now we have that working. Test first name and last name, but because I don't have any data here, it won't appear here in the result. So let's click on monitor and go to our very first record. In fact, that's the opposite of what we had here. Here's Tom Jones. So it shows me my calculation is Tom Jones. So as you can see, the data viewer has a lot of functionality and a lot of built-in tools for you to explore and to really learn calculations. At this point, I would go ahead and make a test database file and create a few fields of your own and work with the fields in combination with these calcs to get familiar with calculations on your own. You can experiment with the get functions, the design functions, any number of things. Take up to a half hour or an hour if you like to really get to know how these calculations work and to get your feet wet. So I hope you enjoyed that lesson from our course called Claris FileMaker Pro Intermediate. If you're interested in enrolling, join us at productivecomputinguniversity.com. You'll be able to sign up for the course. This is just part 2 in a series of courses training you on how to become a master FileMaker Pro developer. Thanks again for joining us. Feel free to like and subscribe to this video, and we'll catch you on the next one.